Vikram Sampath, I really want to ask you this question. Who do you think really carries forward the legacy of Savarkar? Because he wanted caste system to go away. The right wing, the BJP, the RSS still plans its elections on the basis of caste. There are reservations on the basis of caste that are still done, in various institutions, in various educational institutions, jobs, etc. On the other hand, while Gandhi, as you said, propounded the theory of you have to be born in the ruling class to be part of the ruling class, that has been turned on its head. Yet, the present day government, which is trying to revive Savarkar, doesn't follow Savarkar in toto, nor does it follow Gandhi in toto, because they haven't really given the recognition that many in the right wing would want for Savarkar, no Bharat Ratna. They've stopped short of that. So why do these contradictions still prevail?
That's a very good question, because I think even members of the ruling dispensation several times would perhaps, in my view, be very, a lot of, Savarkar's policies would be implemented and followed, but to own them up or give credit to him would perhaps be anathema because of, again, the persona non grata that he has always been since independence. So his policies get adopted, some of it a mishmash of his and Gandhiji's, and that's how I think, even the constitution was a confluence of multiple ideas, multiple ideological streams coming together in this, document that we have as the founding visionaries of this nation. But then, many of his ideas, I think they were far ahead of his times, including his views on, a complete casteless society is an idealist view, which is certainly an important objective to work towards. But then other things in society like cow worship, which is very topical today, where Savarkar actually, would raise the heckles of the orthodoxy by saying that he does not consider the cow as being worthy of worship. It's a very important, very utilitarian animal which can be used, which needs to be protected, but raising an animal to the level of divinity is an insult to both man and God and so on. In fact, he says Hindutva's deity should be Narasimha, the man lion, ready to pounce on its enemies and those who attack it, and not a docile cow, because you become the god you worship. So certainly a lot of this, as you can well imagine, in those times in the 1920s and 30s, when he said all this and wrote all this profusely, it really rattled the orthodoxy, and that was also one reason why there were perhaps a lot of differences between him and the RSS. He was never part of the RSS, though his elder brother Baba Rao was one of the founding fathers of the RSS. So that's also, I document in the book, that this is probably one of his failings as a leader. He did not cultivate a second rung of leadership. There was so much of dissension and intra-party feuds between him and his protege, Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee, the founder of the Jan Sangh and the other ideological fountainhead for the current BJP. But he and Shyama Prasad, though they were in the same party, the Hindu Mahasabha, there were always these factions: the Maharashtra faction under Savarkar, the Bengal faction, and the North Indian faction, which was putting its weight under Mukherjee. So that there was these subtle tensions between the two, and that was one of his failings, of not being able to convince people of many of his far-reaching, earth-shattering kind of reforms, and also especially in social reforms, and not building that legacy forward, where these could also be put into practice in terms of policy. And to be in politics, I think one needs to be a little bit of a pragmatist. You can't be a nihilist like he was. You need to take people along. You need to build consensus, which is what I think Gandhi understood very well. He understood the pulse of the people. And so he, introducing elements of religion, whether it was starting with the Khilafat movement to woo the Muslims, or the use of Hindu symbolisms in the form of bhajans, or the use of phrases like Ram Rajya and all of that, he understood that we are a deeply religious society, and all of this and the whole demeanor of a saint, leading them is something that would be more appealing to the people than someone who's telling them that, your cow is not worthy of worship, Brahmins need to marry the lower caste, all of this, which were very good principles and ideals to follow, but the way it needs to be implemented, particularly in a society like ours, which is both very, very divided as well as orthodox, I think it needs to be done step by step, which he was probably a man in a hurry to implement them soon, and that's one reason why his followers started dwindling, and also the Hindu Mahasabha as a party itself completely got wiped out after 1946.